Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with Put a Ring on It, Season 3, Episode 2. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Child, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, child, let's get into it if we're going to get into it. When the episode first opens up, Shay is still in the restroom because y'all remember from last episode, she was upset because Alfonso is taking trips with the ex and his mother as if they're one big family while she sits home and watches it on the Instagram stories. Okay, so y'all know she's still pissed, child, as she should be. So she comes back to join the group and Dr. Nicole is like, Alfonso, how do you feel about this? He gonna say, I hate to keep going through this. But what can I do? What can I do really? You can set boundaries with your mother and your child's mother because she's the woman in your life. What do you mean? What can you do? You can date all of this. The power lies in your hands. So I'm trying to figure out what you talking about. What can I do? Sir, are you insane? Child, he full of it. So he said that he's pissed. This is what he's saying in his interview because the situation is not for everybody to know. Oh, okay, so you want the disrespect to be secret like your relationship with your child's mother. Got it. Moving forward. So Dr. Nicole said, well, if something is wrong and you don't feel like you can find a solution, then you take yourself out of being the partner. How is she going to feel? Because that's going to leave her by herself. Is that how you want her to feel? He said, no. Well, you had no problem leaving her by herself to go on that family vacation. Child, I still can't get over that, honey. I don't care what he's saying, child. I cannot get over the fact that he got on an aeroplane. Yes, I said aeroplane. He got on an aeroplane with his family and his children's mother. Now, what if something would have happened to you? Like, what if something would have happened to Shay? Like, this right here just don't make no sense to me. So then Dr. Nicole asked Charlena about her date with Meta. Child, let's get into it. So she said he was easy to talk to and it was fun and she loves athletic things and she had a good time. So then she tells Dr. Nicole about her flowers being canned, honey, because y'all know he threw them all the way in the trash. And he's like, her accepting flowers from another man is disrespectful. She should know better. She should know better. So Dr. Nicole said, know better? Honey, that's what I was trying to figure out, honey. That's what I was wondering, Dr. Nicole. He said, correct. She said, okay, know better, or do you want her to understand how you feel? He said, a little bit of both. Oh, he is such a jerk. He is such a jerk. Charlene, I'm speaking directly to you, honey. He's a jerk. He's a jerk. I know. He's a jerk. I know. He's a jerk. Jerk. Baby, he's a jackass. Okay? The way he speaks makes him so unattractive. Even though he's a physically attractive man, you can see by looking at him that he's attractive. But when he opens that mouth, it all goes to hell, child. So Charlena said, he was mean to me. Dr. Nicole said, how? So she starts telling her about her taking a shower. And she said he said a lot of things, but what really pissed her off was him telling her to get in the shower. And it's giving me Ike and Tina. That's what it's giving me. So Dr. Nicole said, well, that's interesting. And she wanted to know what he was trying to say. So he gonna say, well, she had just got done and I feel like the energy was off. So I just wanted her to take a minute, go take a shower, and I'm going to do what I'm doing in the kitchen. Well, Otis, that is definitely not how it came across to the viewers. You're lying. Okay, point blank in the period. What you said was, you're dirty. Go take a shower. Basically telling her to get the scent of being with another man off of her. That's what you were saying to her. Also, you forgot to tell her how you punished her by not letting her eat the food that you were making. Don't forget that. So Dr. Nicole said, well, did you get that context? Talking to Charlena. She said no, because it wasn't because of the soccer. It made me feel nasty. Oh, child, he is despicable. Baby, Dr. Nicole saw right through that, okay? She saw right through the bull. She said, it sounds like you were insecure and seeking dominance. And the context with another man, the date, the flowers, most people would think that you were implying she was dirty and had done something disrespectful. Tell him, Dr. Ponytail. I know that's right, child. I ain't got that drawstring too tight this season. You better tell him, okay? We not buying it. You a lie and the truth ain't in it. He gonna try to weasel and lie his way out of it. Nah, bruh, stand in it. You wanted to treat her like dirt and all of a sudden that you're in front of Dr. Nicole. Well, I just wanted us to take a beat. No. Absolutely not. Moving forward. He's like, well, that wasn't it. Sure it wasn't. So then Dr. Nicole told them that if they think they're going to try to control the situation or their partner, they're in for a rude awakening, honey, because that's not how this is going to go. Actually, all of y'all are being controlled by production. So that's that on that. So Charlana said, in her confessional, I feel like he's very possessive, and I'm hoping that he doesn't continue to overreact. Ooh, wait. So then they talked about Shorty's date with Hollywood, and she said they talked about all kinds of things, and she really liked that. The fact that she could let her hair down and she had someone to talk to. She said talking to Hollywood made her see that she may be forcing Kenneth to be someone that he's not, because she wants someone that she can confide in, and she has to constantly get on his case about it. Kenneth begs to differ, though. He feels like he's gotten deep with her. They've had the tough conversations. And y'all know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of last season when Eric wanted Jessica to have more meaningful conversations. And she was like, I do talk to you. And he was like, no, you don't. And baby, they had that back and forth. That's what this is giving me. So she said she told him about how easy Hollywood was to talk to, and then things went left. And let me just say this before I proceed. These two, this episode, it was very startling and very triggering to watch. So if you have not watched the episode and you're only listening to the review, I would love your take on it. Please watch the episode so that you can tell me exactly how you felt about these scenes that are about to happen after this. Here we go. She said it triggered him that she was going out with somebody else, and it made him think that she was disloyal. So he took her phone, okay? He took her phone, went into another room, locked himself inside, and started going through everything. Oh, hell no. He has really lost it. Then he confronted her about the text messages that she had been sending to her friends. You know how we text our friends, child, and go off about how he ain't and he ain't gonna never be okay, and his mama ain't because she made him, child. So we be going off and venting to the friends, honey. That's our own personal business. That is nothing for you to read, child. That's not for your eyes. So Dr. Nicole asks what his insecurities were, and he tells her that he lost self-confidence for a moment, and that he felt like, at any moment things could just change. So he got a little bit overwhelmed. So Dr. Nicole was commending him for speaking his speech and telling his truth. No, ma'am. No, ma'am, Dr. Nicole. Okay, it's like we take one step forward and 10 steps back. I hear ya, but Kenneth, that is not okay. Dr. Nicole, you need to tell him that is not okay, and that behavior is scary. Please do not allow him to skate past that. Absolutely not. But Dr. Nicole starts with this wrestling analogy about meeting him at the mat versus meeting him at the table. Child, y'all know how Dr. Nicole like to do. Ma'am, let him know that he cannot behave this way every time she goes out. That's what we need to be saying in this moment. I understand about the mat and, meeting him at the table to eat dinner or whatever it was. We need to tell him, because he's the kind of person you have to be straightforward with. He doesn't understand the riddles. Kenneth, I'm speaking directly to you, honey. That is not appropriate. That's not the way that you treat her. She is not your possession. You don't take her things and break her trust and violate her boundaries so you can feel better. That's a hell no. Moving forward. So then she asked the ladies if they would like a second date. So she started with Charlana first, and when she asked Charlana, did y'all see how Otis cut his eyes at her before she answered? Because, baby, I'm watching him. So she said no, that they had a lot in common, but they didn't connect in those areas. And I said that. I could tell that the chemistry wasn't there. So I feel like this is an honest answer, and it's not just about Otis. The two of them did not have any chemistry. So Dr. Nicole said, well, Otis, how do you feel? Here you go. Well, it's Charlie's decision. I decided to respect any decision that she makes. Shorty's face in this scene is me. Boy, please. You saying that because it's favorable to you, and I ain't buying it. So then she asked Shay, and she said no because she likes a certain type of thing physically, and he didn't meet the mark, aka Ricky Rose. So Alfonso said, yeah, I figured that. So everybody started laughing or whatever. And I'm like, ooh, somebody's a little cocky. So Shay was like in her confessional, he knows my type, but we aren't in a good place right now. And I feel like he's getting a little bit too confident and a little bit too cocky. And he's petty as hell. Absolutely. Petty boots. So then she asked Shorty about a second date. And she said Kenneth basically going to be upset about a new date or the same date. So baby, she just got to go with her heart. And she said yes. She feels like there's more to talk to Hollywood about. So Kenneth was like, you know what? I feel like the representative shows up on the first date. You got a lot to say on a first date because you're trying to impress your date. And I have to agree with him. That's all facts. Okay, facts on facts on facts. I feel like those are the facts because you want to impress that person. You're asking questions. You're engaging. You're all in. Like everybody's on their best behavior the first few days. Everybody know that. So now it's time for the men to go on dates. Well, honey, let's see how Otis going to react to this. So Dr. Nicole said, are y'all ready for the men to go on dates? Charlena said, no. Girl, you of all people need to be ready for him to go, honey. Lay his clothes out the night before like it's the first day of school, child. Let somebody have him. Okay, lay his shoes out, brush his hair for him the morning of. Please allow him to go. So she was just telling us that she's nervous because he threatened her about his date. And he did that to control what you do on yours. That's why he's doing that. That's some old psychological manipulation and some bullshit. He's trying to make you feel like, all right, whatever you do, I'm going to do 10 times more. Therefore, and thus and such, you will be on your best behavior. In the next scene, Shorty and Kenneth, they're in the car, right? And they're talking. So he's asking her if she wants to court Hollywood. And she was like, no, it's not about courting. It's about being around him. It's like positive vibes. He's like, oh, I don't give you positive vibes? You sure don't give me positive vibes at all. At all. She said, well, not as of lately. So then he's like, well, do you want to be with me or not? She's like, that's why we're here to figure that out. So he hands her phone back, right? And so she looks at it. And she's like, is this what you've been doing? So he's just looking kind of crazy. Oh, but then there was a plot twist. He done sent himself a copy of her bank statements. Oh, he has really crossed the line, baby, and lost his whole mind. This is not funny or cute at all. Why do you need access to her bank statements? And none of this is your money. So why do you need to see her bank statements? Do you need to see if she's buying dinner for two or just dinner for you? Like, what are you looking for? Child, please. He would have to go. As soon as we got back home, he would have to go. That is psychotic. I had an ex that worked at a bank that I banked with, right? So I went in to withdraw some money. He kept my bank account open and violated my trust. No. Absolutely not. So she's telling him that he needs to delete those things. He's like, I already did it. Child, when I tell y'all I'm watching and my heart is beating so fast because this is some craziness. She said, no, delete it in front of me. It's not in there, so there's nothing for me to delete. Child, he lying. She said, so you're not going to do what I'm asking you to do? Like you're not going to respect me? I asked you to delete it in front of me and you're not? You already violated my privacy and now you're doing this? Okay, Shorty, I have to ask you this question. Why is your banking app not password protected? I don't ever leave my things unlocked. I don't care if I'm the only one looking at it or not. It will not be unlocked. He's like, well, we could talk about it later. Okay, it would be over for me, honey. I wouldn't be able to continue with someone like him. If the roles were reversed, she would never gain access to his phone. Never. So she was like, let me see your phone. He was like, no. So they get back to the house and he gets out of the car and leaves her in there. She was like, you're disgusting. You're despicable. Don't forget he's a disgrace. Moving forward. So they get home and she tells him that sending pics of what's in her phone really pissed her off. He seems like the type to leak your nudes when he get mad. Baby, that's why I don't send no me and no naked pictures of me, honey. And if I do, child, you won't get my face. Baby, you can't prove that's my mole. That's not me. Absolutely not, honey. You get nothing from me. Shorty, you can do better than this. This right here every day makes me see why I love being single more and more. Child, this is a whole fool. So she was like, well, why do you do those things? Like, I just want to know why. He said when he gets in that headspace, he feels like she's against him. What does that have to do with you violating her trust and her boundaries? He said, I shouldn't be mean or try to sabotage you. She said that if they break up, she fears that he's going to try to destroy her, basically. She said he went to her job's social media page and spammed the comments bad-mouthing her. Shorty, a word, honey. And why are you on this show to get engaged to this abusive man, child? Why again? Oh, okay, honey. That is also abuse. I just want you to know that, okay? It may not be physical, but it is. If I have to live in fear that if I leave you, you will expose me, then you're sleeping with the enemy. Because he's an op at this point. I mean, point blank in the period. Moving forward. So she's talking to him, right? And she said, when you do that, it makes me feel like you're forcing me to be with you. Not because I want to, but because I'm afraid of the consequences of leaving. What am I watching? What is this? Is this a real situation or is this a real life hostage situation? This is instability at its finest. Like, this is just not right. It's just not right. He was like, well, I apologize. Not good enough. He's like, I'm not in denial about what I need to do. And then he starts crying, getting real emotional. Okay, so for me, Kenneth, honey, you seem like the type to threaten to unalive yourself if she leaves. That's not fair to her. That's too much pressure on her, especially if she's unhappy. Now, all jokes aside, he needs to get help before he can be in a relationship, because this right here is not stable. It's just not. So then she was like, it really feels good to hear him say that, because if he isn't in denial, then we can build on that. No, ma'am. It's giving desperado, riding in a Monte Carlo. No, ma'am. It's giving desperate. Y'all cannot work on foolery. Girl, what are you talking about? So then she says, I see that he's been putting in work. Yes, working his way through your call log. Girl, goodbye. In the next scene, over at old Otis and Charlena's house, she's asking how he feels about his date. He's like, I'm excited. Oh, okay. So you're entitled to feel excited, but she's not. Got it. He said, he's smooth on dates, so he hopes it doesn't go too well because, look at him and Charlena. They went on one date and have been together for 3 years. Yeah. It's kind of like when you get pulled over and you have a warrant for your arrest. You have a taillight out and now you're in jail. And she's pretty much doing the same, honey. She's doing some time. I hope y'all elope, though. When you go on your date, I hope y'all elope, so Charlena can be at peace. I'm just saying. She said, I'm cool with the date. Just be respectful. And girl, let him go. So then we meet Cherie. She's 30, from Orlando, a very pretty lady, very well put together. And she said when she goes out, she asks a lot of questions when she likes a man. So Otis invites her in to meet Charlie. And she was like, I'm concerned that he's going to break the boundaries that we set. Oh, Charlena, the rules are only for you, honey, not for him. Moving forward. Over at Alfonso and Shay's house, honey, he's putting on every piece of jewelry that he owns. Child, he don't understand the assignment. Baby Rose is putting on all his jewelry, talking about how he got to see what she working with. She was like, what? He was like, yeah, the goal is for another woman to try to take me from you. And again, Shay, he can also be swept off his feet. So Shay is like, well, you haven't tried to see why I was so upset. He said, I was upset. I didn't expect it to get out right in front of everybody. Basura. Only worrying about how he looks to people and how he feels. So she's trying to get him to see that the issue with him, her, and his mom is bothering her. But he not taking her seriously, talking about he tried and all this other kind of stuff. She was like, you ain't tried nothing. So she gets frustrated and is like, you know what? Just go on your little date, because that's all you care about anyway. So then we see Chantel. She's 33, from Brooklyn. Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Child, she's 33, from Brooklyn. She says she likes a dark-skinned man, big and bald. Oh, okay, so Alfonso. Shay goes to answer the door, right? And baby, she got Chantel standing outside like, what's the password? Child, Shay had this woman outside this door, baby. She closed that door and she gonna say to Alfonso, you shouldn't go. I don't think she's his type anyway, child. Let her in. So she comes in. She tries to shake Shay's hand. She's like, nope. Girl, now why you being catty with her? She's trying to show you some respect. Because, honey, I would act like you didn't even exist. But that's just me. After you closed that door in my face, honey, I would have been totally different than Chantel was. So then she tries to hug Alfonso. He gives her a handshake. I'm like, baby, y'all two doing the most. Do you hear me? The most. So Shay is trying to stand guard at the door. And she's like, don't call her baby, none of that. So she gonna tell Chantel, close this up. Like, basically close up your blouse. Because it was giving me blouse, honey. It was giving me blouse, but let me make it sexy. I was looking at that. I said, baby, what is going on, honey? The outfit was not giving what's supposed to be gave, child. So Shay gonna say, oh, well, I have some safety pins. Because Chantel said, well, it broke. Girl, move so they can go on this date. So they walking out. She gonna walk out to the car with him. Shay, get back inside. I don't even think you had no shoes on. So she's telling Chantel not to sit at a certain angle, honey. Don't put your arm on their wrist and don't do this and don't do that. She's like, nah, I'm good. This is me. Like, I'm not going to move the way that you want me to move. Shay, you giving Big Fonzo too much right now. Be easy, Shay. Just be easy. Also, I was waiting for the New Yorker to come out in you, Chantel. Honey, I was waiting for you to get into it as you got into it. This was so extra, child. In the next scene, they get to the date and they start talking about their kids, and he tells us that he has a 20-year-old. And she's like, well, every man needs something specific, so I like to cater to that. Okay, Michelle, not too much now, honey. You don't even know him. Child, this scene, I was looking at it, and the food kept disappearing and reappearing, disappearing and reappearing. Get it together on, I'm speaking directly to you. He said he had a great time on his date. Back with Otis and Cherie, he said he liked the fact that she was covered up. That's interesting. It makes it seem like he likes that because he feels like no other man will be looking at her. Okay. But then he said on the other hand, on his first date, he does need to see a little skin. So they go to make a cake and they start talking about what he looks for in a woman, one he can control. Okay. And then he asked about her dating history, and she says she's been dating casually. If it's not there, then she moves on. But now she's looking for a man that can lead. And then she complimented their date, saying it was very entertaining and, it's interactive and she can learn about him. So he was like, well, what did you learn so far? She said, I learned that you like things perfect and you like to take your time. She said, which connects me to you taking your time in a relationship as well. Child, I wouldn't give him all that. So he said overall the date was good, but he learned that she's looking for things in the wrong places. Well, child, if that ain't the truth, because you are in the wrong place if you're looking for anything from Otis, because he ain't going to give it to you. So, girl, please listen to him. She's like, well, am I in the right place now? He said, yes. Absolutely not, honey. No, ma'am. Moving forward. So then we meet Shamaya. She's 30 years old. She lives in Atlanta, and she shows up for her date with Kenneth. She plans to meet him and be herself and maybe see about their future. And girl, you don't want them problems. Baby, Kenneth dressed like it's the first day of work. Do y'all hear me, honey? Shirt tucked in, belt. He was put together nicely, but it was not the correct clothing for the date they were going on. So Shorty told us, deep down, she doesn't want him to make a connection. Shorty, get it together. So then she answers the door. He said, Shamaya is cool. I like her vibe and everything, you heard me? But, I can't shake what happened in between me and Shorty. Yeah, okay. The energy is way down. It's giving awkward. It's giving out, mommy, I don't want to go. Go, Kenneth. It's a part of the process. Seeing them leave for the date, though, I was looking at Shorty and I was like, Shorty is so tiny. She is really little. So they go to their date. And they're doing some glass blowing, and they look like they're on two totally different dates. She's dressed very casually. He's dressed very buttoned down. So the guy is asking who's going to do the glass blowing and who's going to do the shaping. And he says she's going to shape and he's going to blow. So they sit down. They're not saying too much. And she's like, oh, I didn't tell you what I do. She said, I own a boutique. I sell women's clothing. I know that's right, girl. At least plug your business because this date is in the dumps, okay? So she asked if he was having fun. I mean, can't you tell? He's having a great time. Try that face. Oh, my goodness. So he tells her that he has a lot on his mind. He's overwhelmed. Child, that one date Shorty went on caused all of this. Baby, Hollywood got the boy shook. Do y'all hear me? So then she asked him what led him to want to do this. He said his relationship. So then he starts talking about them fighting. And she's like, do you go for the kill when you fight? Baby, that's an understatement. He said, yeah, I'm guilty of that. She said, oh, I hate to argue. I feel like it's a waste of time. If we're together, we need to work things out. He didn't ask her not one question. Not one. And this date was horrible. So he gonna say, well, thank you for taking me out on this date. I really enjoyed myself. Did she take you on a date? Okay. In the next scene, Otis gets back home with this cake, talking about this is for you. And baby, the cake had flowers on it. She's like, is that on purpose? Because you threw mine away yesterday. So child, he's just looking crazy. So she started asking about their date and if he stuck to the rule. He gonna say, well, I did give her a side hug. She said, interesting. Because I don't have a problem with the hug, but you had like a problem with it the other day. He gonna say, well, I have a different understanding now. Sure you do. Since you done went on your date, now all of a sudden you have a different understanding. He's like, I don't find it offensive. I mean, you did it. She said, I feel like he was holding back something so that we wouldn't argue. Girl, he ain't holding back nothing. She's like, oh, so are you okay with the boundaries? Like he said, I want to say that there aren't any boundaries. Charlana, he is messing with your head, girl. He is truly vindictive. So he said boundaries don't need to be in place. I mean, I'm going to do what I'm going to do regardless. And I'm going to always be me. She said, no, you're trying to trick me. He's like, okay, well, we can keep them. Girl. That's what he wanted all along, except he is not going to have any boundaries. But you will. He will make you think he's having boundaries. Girl, stay woke. In the next scene, the couples get to the meeting with Dr. Nicole. Hey, girl. And she wants to know about the dates, starting with Alfonso. So he said it was nice. Dr. Nicole asked for the blow-by-blow. So he starts talking about how Shay was acting up. And he said he wasn't feeling how she was behaving, and she wasn't feeling the fact that the girl had her arm on the armrest. So Dr. Nicole was like, what is driving your behavior? Shay said he was too happy for this date. She thinks he wants all the other women, even the women that he sees on Instagram and TikTok. She said, and I also have the receipts. The trip alone was enough for me to get out. This is some foolishness. So he said, Shay is too much sometimes. Like, I just want peace. She said, I feel like right now we're at an impasse because I don't feel secure. Well, the way he behaves, I don't think you're going to get the security that you need, honey. And scene. And baby, that was the end of the episode. I'm not understanding why we're here for them to put a ring on it. The only rings I see are rings around somebody's eyes, possibly. I don't trust nothing about none of these men. Please exit stage left. Please let this be the one season where we see people say no to a proposal, because this right here was hard to watch, and this is a whole fool. Now, I don't know if this is real or I don't know if this is fake, but baby, it's too much to be fake. Child, this is a whole fool. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. Tell me what you felt about the stunt that Kenneth pulled on Shorty. Do you feel like Shay was being extra? How do you feel about Otis all of a sudden saying, well, we don't have boundaries? Child, he is Jedi mind tricking Charlene all up and down them Atlanta streets. Do y'all hear me? Please do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.